Hello again everyone, and good afternoon from Tokyo, Japan. Welcome back to Japan Vintage Camera, where today we're going to have a look at something a little bit different for a change. Today we're going to have a look at a twin lens reflex or TLR camera. Today's camera is going to be the Yashica Rookie. If you're interested in purchasing this Yashica or another vintage Japanese camera, I sell these in my Etsy and eBay stores. Please check the description below the video for links to my stores. So the Yashica Rookie was introduced in around 1955 or 1956, and it was designed to be sold, or it was marketed to the Japanese domestic market, and very few of these were exported. Basically, the Rookie is a Yashica Flex A, which has a different nameplate on the front, a different lens cap, and a different film counting system. Otherwise, everything is identical to the Yashica Flex A. The big difference in the film back and the operation between this and the Yashica Flex A is that the Yashica Rookie was able to shoot two different formats, a 6x45 format and a 6x6 format, whereas the Yashica Flex A could only shoot the 6x6 format. Let's go ahead and take a look at the features and functions and operation of the Yashica Rookie. As you can see on the front, it has two lenses. That's why they call it a twin lens reflex camera. There is what is called a viewing lens on the top and a taking lens on the bottom. When you open the focusing hood on the top and look down inside, you're looking at through this lens, and the image is reflected off a mirror through a focusing screen. So as you look through the lens, you turn the dial here to focus until you get a crisp image on the focusing screen, and then the camera is ready to shoot. The bottom is the taking lens, and this is where the film looks at the image that you're going to be shooting. The controls are very basic and very straightforward. You have the shutter charging lever here, the shutter release button, you have the shutter speed selector dial, and then you have a lever which selects the aperture. On the left side here we have a shoe to mount a flash gun, and then we have the two pins which hold in place the film and film spool. On the other side here we have the focusing knob, and we have the film winding knob. And of course, to focus, you open the focusing hood, and there's a door on the front here. You push back on this door slightly, and the focusing loop pops up and allows you to, it magnifies the focusing screen and allows you to focus the camera very accurately. And the Yashica Rookie, like other Yashica Flex cameras, features what they call a sports finder. And to utilize the sports finder, you push down the door all the way until it latches open. And if you look inside, you can see a small window in the back. I'm touching it with my finger here. That's the viewfinder window for the sports finder. And by looking through the small window and framing the large window evenly, I shouldn't do that, then you can focus on moving subjects more quickly than if you are looking through the focusing loop and trying to move the camera around like this. To close the sports finder, there's a little button on the back here to press the button, and that causes it to close back in place. Before closing the focusing hood, always be sure to push down the focusing loop. Some people forget to do that. Usually it doesn't, you pick up the mistake right away, but you slam it shut and you can damage the focusing loop or misalign it. To load film in the Yashica Rookie, it's the same as pretty much all the other Yashica cameras. There's a locking ring on the bottom. You turn counterclockwise, and this disengages the locking claw, and you simply pull open the film door. And there are two chambers for the film. There's one on the bottom and one on the top. I always include a take-up spool with the camera, so you don't have to hunt one up before you can use before you can use it. Loading the film is very easy. I don't have any film to load here, but I can walk you through it just using the film spool. If this were a roll of film, I would place the end of the spool on the pin on the inside, and then push it in just a little bit and then turn the locking pin till it pops down. The Yashica flexes all have this feature, which have a locking pin. It will lock in the upward position, and that makes loading the film and the spools much easier than other cameras where you requires 2 hands. I can do this with 1 hand with this camera, whereas if I were doing this with a Minolta or a Ricoh or something, it would require 2 hands to do the job. So once the film spool is set inside, or the film, you pull on the leader and pull it over the 2 rollers here, covering the film chamber. And you would thread the end of the film into the film spool, and then you would wind this lever. And 120 film has a paper back with markings on it, and there are arrows marked on the back on either side. You wind the winding knob until the paper lead comes up, which shows the arrows, and you line it up with the small arrows located on either side of the film chamber. When those are lined up, you close the film door, and the film is loaded. The next thing you do is you continue winding while looking through the window on the bottom. Since 99% of you will be using 6x6 film, you would look through the 6x6 window. And you keep winding and winding and winding until the number 1 is visible right dead center in the window. Then the film is in the right location and the camera is ready to shoot. When you're prepared to shoot, open the focusing hood, pop up the focusing loop, choose the correct shutter speed and aperture for the lighting conditions. So let's say I'm shooting indoors here with lights, and I'm using Kodak Tri-X film. I would set this to say 1/100th of a second, and I would set my aperture to about maybe f3.5. That's about enough light for it's not a very fast shutter speed, so that would be good for the current indoor situation. And I would charge the shutter, and then I would focus and compose. For example, I'm focusing on the camera here, and when I'm ready to go, I just push the shutter button and take the shot. And after firing the shutter, I would wind to the next frame. I would continue winding until I get to the number 2. If you're shooting 6x6 format, you're going to get 12 exposures. So the number 12 would be the last exposure you would get out of the roll of film. Everything about these cameras is very basic and very simple and straightforward. And they're very usable, user-friendly or user-serviceable. If the lenses are dirty, you can easily thread them off and clean off the insides of the glass. If the shutter is sticky, you can remove the lens and clean the shutter with a little bit of lighter fluid or whatever. Always make sure to keep the focusing hood closed because dust tends to accumulate on the focusing screen. And these don't really require light seals. They come with yarn light seals or wool light seals, and these are generally good for as long as the camera lasts, unless it develops cracks or something in the aluminum on the back. So anyway, that's our look today at the Yashica Rookie Twin Lens Reflex Camera. I plan to do more videos on other cameras and maybe a few other TLR cameras in the future, so please stay tuned for those. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you do, and please subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks a lot.